A Warrior Nation, the history of the Red Lake Ojibwe, is a book that was funded by a grant from the Bush Foundation. And the author spoke at the new Red Lake Nation College on Wednesday. For this week's In Focus, our Mary Keeler listened in.
It's a proud part of my family tree too, even though I'm not from here.
Red Lake band members and others gathered to hear about the book that tells the story of Red Lake Nation through some of its most powerful political leaders, a multi-year research project for Dr. Anton Troyer.
Sometimes a project like this, well, for me as a researcher, but I think for anybody who reads it, you get a chance to see Red Lake from a different perspective, or really different perspectives, and I think that can really change the way we see things.
The process of writing Warrior Nation led Dr. Troyer to conduct more than 50 interviews with Red Lake tribal elders and open up an archive of documents that may have otherwise stayed buried in the past.
Those were the clans represented amongst the hereditary chiefs and the largest of the 20 clans at Red Lake.
Many reviews ask why Anton chose not to include so much information about the shooting in 2005 at Red Lake High School, but he says that was on purpose as he wanted to tell more than just a story of loss.
We didn't want to just tell one story of loss that would trump hundreds of years of history and nation making.
By writing this book, the hope is to preserve the cultural values of the Ojibwe people and making younger generations aware of their roots.
This is going to be awesome for our younger generations, for our little kids. They need to know. I was fortunate enough to be raised by my grandparents who taught me the language, which I feel is super important.
I take Ojibwe class and I learn about histories and other Ojibwe words and stuff like that.
For the people at Red Lake, it will provide a useful tool for them to better understand their history and their place, and for everyone else, an important way to understand not just the story of Red Lake, but the history of our collective nation.
Through stories of both triumph and loss, Dr. Troyer had a vision to bring the history of the Red Lake Nation to life.
So with that, meat wage, we'll open it up for questions. Thank you.
In Red Lake for this week's In Focus, Mary Keeler, Lakeland News.
Dr. Troyer is an author of 14 books and is a professor of Ojibwe at Bemidji State University.
If you've enjoyed this segment of Lakeland News, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution to Lakeland Public Television.